Hello, Seawolf's Den's RPGaDay 2018 number 13. This is take 2 because my microphone was messed up. The question is, how has my game evolved? My gaming life has gone through 3 phases, and it has evolved through each one. It's a common story of high school / early college, then the rest of college and post-college, and then finally married life. Each presented its own challenges. Each had its own style. And my style of gaming that exists now is a result of what I've learned and what I got out of it, each one of those phases. First phase, which I'd call the late high school, early college, involved just the early immature mistakes and early immature stories that we all probably made. I got involved in various games. My primary game that I ran was Star Frontiers, but I got involved in Powers and Perils, and the game master, John Tyler, to his credit, really inspired me to be a game master at that time. That developed into some silly campaigns that were a collage of Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica, V and V the Final Battle. I even integrated stuff from Battletech, and in a time travel campaign, I brought in elements of Twilight 2000, where they went back to Earth during the World War III. Didn't really have a story arc for any of those campaigns I ran. They just were what we used to call Monty Hall, where they'd go one door, ooh, free stuff. Go to the next door, bad guys to fight, so on and so forth. I think there was a sort of a story arc, but again, it was silly. And in early college, I met a GM named Jerry Kaler, and he introduced me to Call of Cthulhu for the first time. From then on, I was hooked. He was a fantastic GM, told a great story, scared the living daylights out of me. My history with Cthulhu started there. Then I started running in earnest in late college and post-college with several deep and reasonably thought out campaigns. Of course, I've always thought, you know, when going into a campaign, this won't take but 6 months, and it ends up taking 1.5 years. But out of that period, my gaming evolved into where I really wanted it to be, which was storytelling, but at times it was storytelling over game system, which by and large is not a bad thing, but you are playing a game, so at times the game kind of just vanished. And so there's some good and bad to that. I think by the end of my post-college and in the beginning of my married life and parenthood life, a merging of good storytelling and having appreciation of the game finally developed. At the same time, I'm getting more and more involved in conventions, running one-shots and playing in some so that I could appreciate other really good GMs and how they run and how they tell a story. My gaming has evolved to new levels of immersion because I feel like that's an important part of my storytelling. I feel like that if I craft, for instance, like I craft my terrain, as I've said before, I have terrain laid out. I don't have to spend time detailing out the situation. They can visualize it as is, and I can detail out the feelings and the story behind it. I like that kind of effect. It helps the immersion. It helps me get more story out without having to get into too much detail of the minutia of the situation. That's where it evolved to at this point. What affects that evolution is the game itself and what games I'm into, game systems or game settings. The people I'm playing with, some I click, some I don't. And then finally, how much time I have to invest in the game itself during my high school and early college, and then late college and post-college. I actually had a lot of time on my hands. So I spent a lot of time writing. Out of that, I developed a website. The website became a tool for me, and continues to be a tool for me to express much of the story that either I've missed or expand on the story that we've talked about in the game. I like putting characters' backgrounds up there. I also like to put the chronicle of the game, although in the past I used to be rather verbose on my chronicle. Now I just get a summary. That's the best I can do these days. I'm about to start a new campaign this Friday. We're going to go through character gen and discuss the kind of party that you're going to build. They're going to build. I hope to have characters on the website and the start of a chronicle. That has been a big part of mine since I started Star Wars, really. Also, I guess what also has affected my evolution is where I end up playing. For years, for 20-some years, I was able to run my campaigns out of classrooms on campus at UNC Charlotte because nobody else was there on the weekends, so I was able to use them. Technically, they were reserved by the gaming club I was involved with, but after I graduated, I wasn't really a student, so it wasn't entirely legal by their rules. But I did for years. And to have that chalkboard or that whiteboard and tables and desks, all that, and sometimes overhead projectors available to you, I utilized them when I could and when it was useful. But it takes some preparation time to do that. But after that finally ended, I started running out of my house, and I have a back porch that we've used before, and I have a great table to play on there. But if we don't play at my back porch, we play in my house, in my living room. We make that work, although I kind of wish I had my own gaming room, and my goal is to have one in my next house. In a sense that it's evolved in different ways. When I lose that chalkboard, I had to get the dry erase mats, and then I started crafting because I wanted to take it to a new level. What was available to me affected how I evolved my game. But it still remains, for the most part, focused on story, not just the overall campaign story, but individual character stories. I'll admit, one of the things that has kind of dwindled, devolved, I suppose you could say, is my focus on character story. I find that to just get a campaign story takes up a lot more time than I have available. So to do individuals is even harder. So in that sense, it's kind of had a negative effect on the evolution of my game. But I'm making my best attempt to use the web, to use free time that I have to at least get something individual going in the overall campaign. So I hope that was reasonably insightful. I'm trying to make these better and better every take. I know I'm not always successful, but it's something for me to do, and I'm having fun with it. And it helps me stay awake while I drive home or drive to work. So until next time, seek the wolf in thyself.